Benjamin Britten, who dedicated his third string quartet to Hans, said of him, "Hans Keller knows more about the string quartet and understands it better than anybody alive, composers and players included." Consequently, that understanding gave Hans as a teacher the power of revelation, and he had the ability to articulate it in a manner where he had one believing that one had just about sensed it also. He enabled one to find it within oneself, all important to him, for he had often said that the divisions of style and wars of musical philosophies were nothing more than the manifestation of creative inferiority feelings. I remember the day he was invited to teach at the Menuhin School. He was elated, not just because he was going to teach young children, but because he was going to teach chamber music in a manner that never happened in our larger institutions.
If I had my own way, I would close down all music colleges, all academies, with the sole exception of the Menuhin School, where I also teach, but there you get only outstanding talents, and there you can teach chamber music as you wish to. Otherwise, academies and colleges, I don't see their function.
I have taught people who have meanwhile become famous. I have taught composers as well as players. I've spent my life teaching string quartets, and in the course of my teaching activities, I discovered the dangers of teaching. The prime danger is that the pupil or student is led to imitate the teacher instead of unfolding his own personality. Therefore, teaching has to aim at self-teaching, at the students taking over at the earliest possible opportunity. Otherwise, what teaching results in is arrested development. I would go so far as to say that most music students at the present moment suffer from arrested development. Their teacher may be a gramophone record. In fact, records have taken over part of the dangerous function of teaching. At the BBC, I used to attend auditions, and I placed bets with my colleagues that I would be able to say what particular gramophone record the candidate had at home, and I won plenty of money that way. Anything predictable is not art.
Beautifully said, lovely.
He never told people how things went. He wanted to know how they felt it should go, and he would then try to help them to fulfill their intentions. In fact, mostly teachers think that their job is to tell people how things should be done and how music goes. And even the teachers who say they don't do that and feel that they're leaving it up to the pupil often are just deluding themselves. But Hans was somebody who carried this out in practice more than anybody I had ever come across.
He wouldn't.
About one ultimate value without which there are no human beings to speak of. The ultimate value is the independence of the individual conscience, while the ultimate vice is its capitulation, loving surrender, collective envelopment. There is no collective wisdom. A group doesn't think. Unless we regain the power to think and feel for ourselves in all intellectual and emotional situations, unless we show total respect for that power in others, we are going to lose the dignity of being human, a loss which is never noticed when it happens. It is this threatening loss that many of my ideas, my thoughts, have been about. I am a thinker, a crusader against all crusades.
Throughout my life, I've always been heavily attacked, especially by my fellow critics, until one day I suddenly noticed that I was an established authority. How that happened, don't ask me.
The Lindsay Quartet, who played in that programme, performed Benjamin Britten's String Quartet No. 3, Opus 9.